Hey everyone, this is Fluff TCG from the future. I realized when I first made this deck profile that the Gon and Killua need 4 different specified slot names, and I only had 3 in the deck. So you're gonna see what the old deck profile was shortly. Pretty much, I removed Abiski, and I removed Abiski's training, and I put in 2 risky dice. Everything else applies. Don't play risky dice in this deck. It's a get trigger that you keep in your hand to show your opponent to count to 4. That's it. Oops. And thanks for watching, and enjoy the rest of the video. Hello, welcome to another deck profile. This is Fluff TCG, and we are here to talk about a highly requested one from a lot of people. I've been getting a bunch of messages. First of all, thank you for your support. It means the world to me. Secondly, a lot of people have been asking for Hunter x Hunter decks. And, you know, there's a million deck profiles that cover, like, Kurapika or the Phantom Troop, and even the Zoldyck family. So I was like, you know what? People are doing blue, but not too many. And I kind of want to take advantage of this situation. Now, there's been a huge upswing in the meta regarding rush decks. Decks that pretty much have you slam down as many 4Ks as possible. You've been seeing this in Renji Rush and Purple Bleach. You've been seeing it in Yellow with Stern Ritters, which I'll be making my own version of that deck shortly, so we'll see how that goes. But no one's done it for Blue Hunter x Hunter. And it's a little crazy, but I have reasons for it. So first, I'll do the card by card and give you my thought process on everything, and then I will do my best to explain why the deck is this way. So first, here we go. We are going to start with our zeros. I'm going to go one by one, and I'm going to have to magnify every single thing, so bear with me. Zeros are pretty simple. First is the Gon. It says, on play, draw a card, and then discard a card. Every color has it. No surprise there. Just a really good card. It's also a draw trigger, which is great in blue, obviously. The next zero is the Killua. It's the get trigger, so you managed to get 4 of these also. And it's the main target for the Killua raid. So, you know, standard stuff so far. Nothing crazy. Next is the Bisky. This is pretty much just another zero that we can throw in, but I like that it actually has an ability, like being able to get rid of herself in order to grab a specified slot. So that way you could loop Angel's Breath, you can loop Paladin's Necklace, cards like that. I don't run risky dice in this package because, you know, I don't want to gamba and get myself blown up. So that's the zeros. 11 zeros in the deck. Pretty good so far. We're going to run 2 Itas, just on play, bounce, a 1 or less, because it generates 2 energy. I was debating on going higher on this and maybe cutting Bisky down to like 2, but this deck is really cheap, where 95% of your cards cost 4 or less, and the only card that costs 5 is the Razor. But even then, you know, there's plenty of cards in this deck that generate 2 energy, like for example, the Elena. Standard 2 generator, while active, 2 drop, pretty much in every deck. No stranger here, just, you know, it's a Hunter x Hunter deck profile. And we're going to talk about the color trigger, which is the Killua. It's a 3000 that says on attack, draw 1, discard 1. Again, standard. It's primarily for the color trigger because, you know, sometimes bouncing things does have value. But with so many people running 4K beaters, the reason why I want this color trigger is because it can at least bounce targets like the purple Ubogin because he's 3500, or purple Rukia, or purple Soyphone, or any of the Kurapikas that don't gain the power based on energy. There's options here, and I think that 3500 is a good point for bouncing cards back and just being annoying. So the reason you play this is because obviously the Genthru is a 3-2, which is way worse, especially because, again, 2 action points. I'm not a fan of those cards in the meta at present. The only card that I enjoy that has 2 AP is the green Kenpachi that can sideline. But at least with the Unohana raid, it can cost 1 less. But that's neither here nor there. That's a whole different deck. So after the Killua, we're going to talk about the main bodies of the deck. So first, the Gon. It's an activate main. Reveal any number of cards in your hand. Activate all abilities listed below if you have specified slots in hand and on the field. So 3 or more is draw, 4 or more is gain impact. This is great because of the fact that you'll pretty much always have 3 to 4. The deck is currently running 8 specified slots, so even though you have to see half of them, the deck is really consistent with its draw power, where it's not an issue. And even if you don't see it, it's still a 4K body, which is more important than its ability. For impact, that's usually when you want to close out games, and luckily, you know, you'll have the 4 by that point if everything goes well, which it should. And great is that he's a get trigger, so if he's in your life, he goes to your hand, which is really important for rush decks because you always want to have hand and always play bodies and always swing. Next is the Raid Killua. It has the same thing regarding the specified slots, except his is when attacking. If there's 2 or more, you draw. If there's 4 or more, he gains double damage. I think double damage is really crucial in these rush decks. You need to have at least 1 body with it, so that way they feel like they have to block it. Sometimes they just take it because they don't care, but it's really good to apply pressure early on and play this body on the board, just so that way they have to start either getting rid of it immediately or sacrifice whatever they have on the board that's usually a 4K. And it's a raid trigger, so of course it goes to your hand. Now, next is a card I don't see a lot of people playing, which is the Razor. It's a vanilla, and it has 4K base. The reason why I think this card is very good is because it has a get trigger. So basically, if it's in your life, this goes to your hand, which is another 4K body. So at this point, 12 of your 16 high-end all have triggers that go to your hand. 4 of the Gon, 4 of the Killua that raid, so they go to your hand or to the board, and 4 of this Razor. And they're just really obnoxious to deal with. A lot of people that aren't familiar with the Rush meta don't really know what to do when you just play a bunch of 4Ks and pass. So again, really solid. And last but not least, we have the 5-drop Razor. This card is crucial in this deck. It's probably the best card because of the fact that it says if your opponent has 2 or more characters, it gains damage 2. Your opponent will always have 2 or more characters. He will always have damage 2. But also, he has a when sideline that lets you move something up. So if he's removed, anything in your back, you can just move up. So let's say you do already have like the 5 AP in the back row, or maybe you have 6 because you have 2 generators. You could put another Razor in the back, and then when this one gets sidelined, you just shove him up. He's not restricted on the card that he plays. So you could play the Gon with 4,000, you could play either Razor, you could play even a 0-cost body just to block an attack. It's so good, and the thing that's very important is that there are only 10 cards in this deck that don't have triggers, and there's 40 that do, because I think the consistency of having a hand is so important in this deck that you just gotta go in. So we'll do events next. First, Paladin's Necklace. Active trigger, which is really good because when they always swing for 4 every turn, getting 1 body to 7 is great because they get to turn off an attack. Also, the ability to remove a rated character and sideline it, plus drawing, super good in pretty much every single matchup. Getting the Kurapika off is an amazing feeling. Even doing it to the Byapyas or the Renjis or anything that's obnoxious is so strong. And if they don't have it, it stays in your hand and it counts as one of the slots you want to use for Gon and Killua. So even if this card is not dead in your hand, no matter what, it's just always good. So we are running 3 of it just so that we can have more specified slot consistency. We're running 3 Biscuits trainings instead of 4. It's a weird thing with this card. I don't personally like wanting to gamble on a final trigger. It does happen, but it's rare. And truthfully, with how low cost the deck is, I don't think you need 4 of this card. I could even argue about putting 2, because it's just great because yes, it gives you an extra action point, but you swarm the board so fast with this deck that it's not 100% needed. But it's also really good when it comes in clutch, when maybe you need to pay to draw so you can play a body and then you can Bisky's training and do the rest of your turn because maybe you missed something. So that's why I play 3 of this. I know it's really odd to not play it at 4, but trust me, I don't think it's needed in this deck. Next is Jajanken. This is the typical sideline card. It's gonna pretty much always be active because you're gonna always have a Gon on the board. The 5,000 or less point is, again, every major card in this game at the moment, and it's special trigger. Not much to say about it, just really solid. I'm sure you know that already if you're watching this video. And we're only playing 2 because the other 2 is going to be Angel's Breath. This card is awesome. It lets you grab a card from your sideline and play it on your field rested as long as it costs 1 AP and it has enough energy, or you can perform raid with it. Now, why is this good? Because everything in your deck is 1 AP. Not only that, you can re-raid Killua. You can put something in the front, like a Razor, so that if it gets KO'd again, you can move something up. You can put the Gon in the front. You could even put something in the back. It doesn't specify where on the field it has to be. So, ultimately, amazing. Definitely a 2 of. I think that running 2 Angel's Breath is important for meeting the specified slot quota, but even then, 2 Jajankens is still good enough. I think 2 removal is fine because the rest of your removal will just be your bodies. And finally, we're going to have the sights. Strip of Beach. Banger card. On play, draw. Maximum hand size is 15. And it's a get trigger. What more could you say? It generates 2 energy. It's pretty much going to be in your back row for the remainder of the game, and it slaps. And you know, that's the deck profile. That's pretty much everything. I wanted to make this pretty snappy. Here's the full deck. I'll do my best to post a link in the description. Oh, you can hear my little notifications popping up. Sorry about that. You know how it is. Well, let's go with some sample hands, and we are going to start right here. Now, this right here is the biggest problem with your deck. You can brick really bad with these rush type of decks. I've seen plenty of these decks that focus on 4K bodies, just draw like 5 bricks, and they're just screwed for 2 turns. Obviously, you should always keep, if you have 2 zeros at least, and hopefully a 1. 3 is pretty much the range where you want to play. So if your hand can make 3 energy in the back row, you're comfortable. So let's redraw, and boom! So we got Killua, and the Gon, and the Bisky, and we also have Ita and Elena. And we have Strip of Beach, and we have the Raid Killua. This hand is really good. So if you were to play the Gon first, you could draw. Another Killua, you don't really need another one. You could just get rid of it, and then you could just play the Ita to bounce your Gon and pass. And then another Ita. So look, you're already done, energy-wise. At this point, you just have to start drawing more bodies or take more damage. And ultimately, you should be okay. The main gripe with these type of decks also is that sometimes you'll see only bricks and sometimes you'll see only low cost. So seriously, shuffle well. It makes a huge difference. We'll restart again. Now this is a little better. It's not perfect, but it's still really good. But again, 1-0 is not going to cut it. It's just not. We got something a little better here. We got the Gon and the Killua, so 2 zeros. So you can play the Gon. There's Bisky. Nice. So you got the 1, 2, and the 3. Then you go. There's the 4. It's awkward to have 4 zeros in the back, but ultimately, because you have 2 Bisky training in your hand, you can pay to draw. There's Ita, and then you have the 2 Razors in your hand. So you can go to 5, start playing them out. There's Strip of Beach. There's Jajanken. This is pretty much how the deck goes. It's really aggro and it's really oppressive, but since half your deck is low cost and half your deck is high cost, you really need that perfect blend in your opening hand. Like here, you can do 2 Killuas and then Elena. And then you have the Killuas here. At least you can play these in the front early. You don't have to even play Elena immediately. If you're going second, you put these 2 Killuas in the back. Then you go again and you put these 2 Killuas in the front. Then at that point, you're fine. You have the Gone here. You can put Elena in the back. And you can put the Gone, draw, discard, and then here's the Razor. So you'll have a 3K, a 3K, and a 4K. And the Killuas will draw and discard when they swing. So even if your opponent blocks, you're still cycling through your deck. You can be bricked and it's very bad, but it's not hard to unbrick yourself because of how many cards say draw or draw and discard. Like, look at this. We've got 3 Gones and we have Elena. That means you could play a Gone, draw, there's the Raid Killua. You could trash a Paladin's Necklace, or you could trash another Gone if you'd like. Go again, there's a Raid Killua. Play another Gone, draw. At this point, you could get rid of Paladin's Necklace, or you can get rid of this Gone. Play Elena, go to 4, and you could just honestly play these Killuas as vanilla bodies. You don't have to worry about the raid effect. It's good, but it's fine because of the fact that you have Angel's Breath. It's not a huge deal. You can just bring them back if they were to die for any reason. Going through some hands here. There's the Gone, there's the Killua, there's the 2-drop Killua, there's the Raid, there's the Ita, and there's the Razor. This is like a perfect hand for this deck. Let's see. Lots of Gones and Strip of Beach. So this is fine. Again, you can get to this point. With just this opening hand, you'll be able to get to 5. The only time when it gets complicated is you want to find your pieces, like this Gone, really fast. Ideally, you want to have at least 2 or 3 3K or higher bodies by the time it's your opponent's 3rd turn. And definitely on your 3rd turn. It's a little hard if you're going second. Like I said before, if you do 2 zeros and then you do 2 Killuas, you can do that. Just for the 2 3Ks in the front. But turn 3 is when you want to have at least 2 4Ks in the front. And if you have Bisky's Training in your hand, 3 4Ks in the front will be perfect. Reroll. There's Killua. There's Itas, Elena, and then there's the Razor and the Gone. Again, near perfect hand. Play Killua. Play Ita, bounce Killua. Play Elena. That's 4. You're done. You play Killua in the back again, you're at 5 energy. You can play the Razor, you can play the Gone. Another Razor, look at that. So overall, it's very strong. It's very aggro. It's a little risky because of the fact that, like I showed, sometimes you can brick and see only low end, sometimes you brick and see only top end, and sometimes you have a really, really good hand like this one right here. But that's my deck. Try it out for yourself. Let me know how it is. I'm curious to hear your thoughts. If you think it's jank or you think it's crap, that's totally valid also. I'm just trying some new things. I've had a lot of fun with this deck, and hopefully you do too. So thank you so much for watching, and I'll catch you in the next deck profile, whatever it may be.